Welcome to another episode of Unlocking the Mind Behind Make More, Work Less. Hi, my name is Fong. I'm an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor, speaker, and also a best-selling author. And every single day, I help others unlock potentials and guide them to succeed. Today on Unlocking the Mind, we talk about another cognitive bias. And the reason why we do this is so that we can better understand how our minds work, how we make decisions, how we can avoid certain cognitive traps so we could actually make better decisions or actually build better relationships and negotiate better and all that great stuff. Now, for today's cognitive bias, let me ask you this question. Have you ever looked at somebody and go, wow, that person is so successful. What they've done must be right. What they've done must be working well, must be great decisions. If you said yes, then that's outcome bias. And what is outcome bias? Well, that is the tendency to evaluate a decision on the basis of its outcome rather than on what the process was or the factors that actually led to those decisions and those outcomes. And to simply put, we as human beings are very easy to look at results and go, hey, that must be the right way to go, or hey, that must work well because it worked well for them. But we don't really jump into asking the how. How did that decision come about? How did that outcome come about? And we just quickly jump to that conclusion thinking that, you know what? That's a positive result. It must be working well. And we just don't ask those questions to really find out how it was actually done. Now, certain studies have been actually put together. And for instance, let's put it this way. If you were to try and understand how to play poker well, and you stood there and you watched three poker players, and you watch one round and one series of games, and one person won $20,000, and one person was losing $10,000, and another one was winning $500. Which one would you pick? Most likely or not, you would pick the one that's winning $20,000. Now you might sit there and go, that must be right because they have a positive result, and therefore their decisions must be good. However, a lot of it may have been luck. A lot of them may be something that maybe they cheated. Maybe they did something that wasn't actually legal playing that game. Or maybe the other two was just having a bad day. All those scenarios actually come into play. All those factors actually come into play. But us as humans like to go and take a quick shortcut. We think cause and effect. We think positive and we notice. And therefore we go, hey, this person won $20,000. They must be a good person to learn from. But we don't ask those questions. And the thing is, we have to start asking those questions. We have to be very judgmental on how success was actually achieved, how those positive results were actually received. Us as humans have been very, very critical and very judgmental when something fails. We always ask the question, well, how come you didn't do that? How come you didn't get the results that you got? What did you do wrong? What didn't go right? And you ask all these questions when there's failure. But we're not asking the same questions when it comes to success. And that's what we need to do to overcome the outcome bias. Now, the thing is, how we frame it is also very important too, to kind of support the fact that we just jump to conclusions when we think something is positive, that the decisions are right. Another study was done. Two groups of people was looking at the exact same outcomes, exact same results. But one group of people was told that those results from a positive standpoint, and the other group was told those results from a negative standpoint. And then finally, the question was asked, so do you believe the person who made the decisions to get this outcome was a good decision or a bad decision? Over 75% of the people on this side said, well, this person was actually making the best decisions because of all these outcomes that were actually positive. Whereas less than 9% of the people in this group said that the person was making the right decision when the outcomes were framed from a negative aspect. So that's why when it comes to positive and negative, we have a certain way of tendency of thinking that somebody must be making the right decisions. Let's look at another example, or let's look at another situation where people might jump into a outcome bias. Now let's take, for instance, you have 1 million monkeys, and you ask these 1 million monkeys to pick a stock, or whether the stock market will go up or down. And all these millions of monkeys will get to pick by clicking yes or no, so they have two buttons. Now, every time they get wrong, they're shipped out. So now you have a less group of people, 50% of the monkeys remain, and they go through the same thing. every day, every week, and all that kind of stuff, they all pick one of the two buttons. Eventually, after 20 weeks, you can be left with one monkey that has gotten it right the entire time. So what does that mean? Does that mean that this monkey actually knew how to pick the stock market? Does this mean that the monkey was actually a genius, and out of all the other smart individuals who play the stock market or invest in the stock market, that this monkey actually knows what they're doing? Would you actually pick this monkey to go and help you do your investments? Probably not. But the thing is, when we frame it that way, then go, yeah, we're not going to fall for that outcome bias. The thing is, a lot of times we don't ask the factors. We don't ask what's going on behind the scenes for those results to come up. So we have to be very critical of success, just as we are when it comes to failure. So we can't just assume that good results lead to good decision making, and therefore we just have to ask those questions. So that is outcome bias. If you enjoyed this episode and you learned something from this episode, please go back to my other episodes on Unlocking the Mind. And if you like this show, we have a whole bunch of other shows, the Mastermind Bites, the Peak Potential Success Show, and also the Make More Mind Bites that's up every single week. And also, thank you very much for supporting me. Also, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. I always love seeing those comments. And yeah, enjoy. So until next time, today is the day to unlock your peak potential. We'll see you later.